The U.S. Central Command announced Monday the withdrawal of U.S. troops from Afghanistan has completed, ending 20 years of U.S.-led invasion into the country.
The last C-17 lifted off from Hamid Karzai International Airport on August 30th, this afternoon, at 3:29 p.m. East Coast time, and the last manned aircraft is now clearing the airspace above Afghanistan. Tonight's withdrawal signifies both the end of the military component of the evacuation, but also the end of the nearly 20-year mission that began in Afghanistan shortly after September 11, 2001.
Since entering Afghanistan, U.S. troops have caused more than 30,000 civilian deaths, injured more than 60,000, and turned 11 million people into refugees. Over $2 trillion was spent on the war. That's $300 million every day for 20 years. In the meantime, nearly 2,500 U.S. military personnel were killed, and more than 20,000 have been wounded. U.S. troops suffered one of their bloodless days near the end of their 2-decade deployment in Afghanistan. Last week, 13 U.S. service members were dead in a suicide bomb attack. The tragedy is something Biden pledged to avoid, and even before the attack, Biden was already under intense criticism for this botched exit. But is the Biden administration the only one to be blamed? Michael McKinley, then U.S. ambassador to Afghanistan, wrote a piece on foreign affairs saying, "Washington's decision to withdraw U.S. troops is not the sole or even most important explanation for what is unfolding in Afghanistan today. The explanation lies in 20 years of failed policies and the shortcomings of Afghanistan's political leadership." McKinley said, "We can still hope that we in the United States do not end up in a pointless debate about who lost Afghanistan. But if we do, let's acknowledge that it was all of us." Xinhua talked with David Gordon, a former senior U.S. official. Let's hear about his views on Afghanistan.
When I was in government, I very much thought that the U.S. had too many expectations about what it could achieve in Afghanistan. Long ago, Afghanistan became known as the graveyard of empires. So that's where I was coming from, that this is just not an easy place to influence and to engage with, and that I just thought the notion that we were going to sort of achieve the modernization of Afghanistan under U.S. tutelage and Western tutelage was overly ambitious. And I still think that was the challenge all along.
The hasty withdrawal also disappointed U.S. allies. According to David Gordon, some are furious, while others are worried about their own security in the future.
The allies in Europe are furious. So I do think that this is going to increase interest in Europe in becoming more autonomous of the United States. On the other hand, I don't see any of the European countries being very willing to do the increase in military spending that would be needed to really enable that. So I think there's going to be a lot of politics around this. I think in the Middle East allies, there's less anger, but there's more of a worry if they got out of Afghanistan and didn't take into account the views of regional partners and the Europeans. Might they do that to us?